Hi everybody, welcome back to the third in our series on the intelligent enterprise. If you attended the previous two sessions, you'll know we started off by talking about what it means to be intelligent in the first place. And largely that's based on our capacity to gather experiences, turn them into knowledge, and use that to anticipate what might happen next. And that anticipation gives us the capability to adapt to whatever the world throws at us. We also examined some of the things the world is throwing at us and realized that there are many different trends that are coming really quickly that affect every industry and every organization differently, but we have to pay attention to them and figure out whether they're an opportunity for us or a threat that needs to be countered. We also said that this pace of change has been dramatically accelerated by the pandemic, forcing digital transformations to accelerate from horizons like 7 years down to 2. And we covered off the fact that artificial intelligence is providing some wonderful new capabilities for organizations to affect massive change in how they run certain aspects of their businesses. We also said that business transformation is what we call adaptation, but equally most of this transformation today is based on data in some shape or form. And therefore it doesn't make a lot of sense to separate out digital transformation from business transformation. They are inextricably bound together. We then talked a little bit about business transformation per se. We said it's quite a hard thing to do because there are so many aspects that you need to focus on: driving productivity, driving innovation, making sure you're unleashing your talent, making sure you're doing all of this sustainably, making sure you're building a resilient organization. And that because of that, it's not just about the digital component. You also have to focus on the culture, on the learning of your organization, on the people and the leadership. And you've got to get these two things in sync if you want a successful business transformation. We also then turned to introduce the notion of the intelligent enterprise framework from SAP. And what we said when we talked about that was, when you look at transformation in an organization, you can look at it from an enterprise-wide perspective. So you might be changing your entire business model, or you may be operating in one of the lines of business of your organization and responsible for transformation in that area, be it, say, procurement or manufacturing or marketing or whatever. But ultimately, all of these efforts must come together. They must cohere if you want to get a real synergy going and if you want a holistic approach to your organization. And for that, you need a platform. It's difficult to do if you approach the task piecemeal. And that's really what the Intelligent Enterprise Framework is designed to do for organizations that join the SAP family. It helps you to drive superior situational awareness so you can be much more responsive, to make better decisions, more intelligent decisions, which makes you more effective and typically more productive and profitable. It gives you the capabilities to flex, so if you need to seize new opportunities, open new channels, divest a business, acquire a business, all of these things become much easier to do when you have a robust platform to do them on. Also, you have to focus on doing this sustainably, we said, and you need to make sure ultimately that everything's driving towards customer centricity so that your customers keep coming back. Then we turn to look at, that sounds all well and good, but what does business transformation entail? And the first thing we said is it should be focused on value, and we pointed out that enormous value can be unleashed by good business transformation projects, whether you talk at an enterprise level or a departmental or even a process level. We further pointed out that the real challenge is, because a business transformation is multifaceted and because it's quite complex, you see very few of these projects really achieving their benefits. In fact, according to Bain, it's only 12% that sort of cut the mustard and get the benefits that they went in anticipating. And with that in mind, we introduced the idea of RISE from SAP as one way to help our customers be successful, to make sure that 12% grows bigger, more transformation projects become successful, and that you're part of that journey. So, having said that and recapped very quickly, what I wanted to do in this session is look a little bit more at why cloud and why SAP S/4HANA Cloud, which is the ERP centerpiece of our Intelligent Enterprise Framework, are so important and a really good choice if you're a mid-market organization. Because we know a couple of things about mid-market organizations. You often don't have the luxury of all the resources that very large organizations have. Also, often it's much more of a hustle when you're in the mid-market. So you need to move more quickly. You need to be more dynamic, and you need a vendor and a platform that can reflect that dynamism and help you to achieve it. Now, cloud on its own has a lot of merit in this particular regard, because firstly, the cloud solutions are up and running already. It's really a question of bringing your business onto that cloud solution and you're up and going pretty much. It also means that if you want to scale quickly, you can do that. You don't have to figure out how to scale all the underlying technologies that support the application services that you're using. That's our job, and we make sure it's there for you and it's elastic as you need to scale. Secondly, the bottom line for many mid-market organizations is because you're a bit smaller, you probably don't have all the people you need, and you're probably not able to achieve the kind of scale economies in your data center that can be achieved when you move to the cloud. A simple example, in a conversation I had with a CIO recently, he was saying he had one person part-time on cybersecurity. Now, we know that's a massive issue in today's world. Moving his systems to the cloud immediately gained him access to a whole fleet of cybersecurity experts and took that worry away from his mind, so he could start thinking more about how to apply the software to his business. Also, in innovation, the way we deliver innovation in the cloud is much more regularly and much more frequently and much more consumable. So that is something else that you benefit from. As these innovations come out, you can look at them and say, wow, we could really use that in our business, apply it, and job done. You're moving forward with a new business capability. And last, and certainly not least, all of this has to happen reliably and safely. And that is one of the big advantages of working with a vendor like SAP, is our size, our scale, our experience, our commitment to standards, our rigorous policies and procedures ensure that your data and therefore your business is kept safe and sound in our cloud environments. So cloud as a basic fundamental is really the way to go today. On top of that, we have our SAP S/4HANA Cloud ERP system. And what this brings you is a complete reimagining of what ERP should be in an organization when it's built on the very latest technologies and when it incorporates the very latest thinking about how business should operate. So it incorporates lots of capabilities for automating business processes that you might be doing manually today. That unleashes your people to then go and focus on the value-added stuff like building customer relationships or solving complex problems or strategizing where to next for your business. It incorporates next-generation capabilities in the area of the user interface so that we can deliver much more insightful information to people at the point that they need it, exactly when they need it. So role-based, embedding analytics and transactions together in a very elegant user interface that allows people to be much more productive as well. And then, of course, it's all about keeping this future-proof. None of us really know what the future is going to bring, but what we do know is if we have the latest technologies, the state-of-the-art, you invest the kind of money that SAP does in research and development, we can keep you right on the leading edge of where you need to be successful in the digital world. So inside SAP S/4HANA Cloud, you will find fabulous user cockpits that are role-based, that incorporate machine learning, and that today incorporate digital assistants so you can talk to your ERP system or type it in much as if you were messaging a friend on WhatsApp or some other messaging system. Very key in the SAP world is the fact that we have brought together the analytics and the transactional capabilities on one platform. What this means basically is that any point in time you can see exactly what the state of your organization is, whether that be at the level of a P&L or whether that be at the level of the status of an individual shipping order for a customer. And very importantly, as I mentioned earlier, we embody machine learning and robotic process automation throughout so that the mundane, routine work that doesn't give you a competitive advantage but has to be done can be done as efficiently as possible. That makes you more productive and more profitable. So S4HANA is really the path to becoming a much more intelligent enterprise. It's the centerpiece. One way to look at it is it's like a terminus. Every business process either starts there or returns there after it has gone through perhaps other applications from SAP or other applications that are in your landscape. One of the key things, if you're in the finance department, that's revolutionary about SAP S4HANA is the fact that we have brought together all of the different elements of accounting in one universal journal. Historically, in ERP systems from SAP and all the other vendors, these things were all broken up because of the underlying performance of disk-based computing. Today, running in memory, we've blown through that constraint, which means we can pull all the data together in one place and query it any which way you like at any point in time. And what this means if you're in accounting is that you have an always-on view of what the status of the organization is. You don't have the same number of reconciliations that you used to have in the past. There's no more batch jobs that cause those reconciliations in the first place. So it's revolutionizing the task of accounting in much the same way today as ERP revolutionized the running of a business 20 odd years ago. So that's a little bit about SAP S4HANA. One way to think about it is from where you are today, where do you want to get to? And typically what our customers tell us is they want to get to a situation where the routine work takes care of itself and where the people, the talent of the organization are unleashed to create new value, to build deeper relationships, to think about new partnerships and new forms of value creation. And that's precisely where we're heading with SAP S4HANA. It takes all of your data, it learns from that data how processes work, it starts to automate those processes, it starts to predict what might happen next based on the history as it builds up, and that gives you the opportunity then to augment your decision making with much deeper insight into what kind of decision you need to make right now. We're saying we'll present you, for example, with a number of different options. Let's take a situation where one of your suppliers has let you down. You have a couple of customer orders that might be compromised by that. The capabilities of SAP S4HANA are such that they will say to you, well, you could do it this way if you want to maximize profit. You could do it that way if you want to maximize on-time delivery, or you could do it perhaps a third way if you want to optimize some other factor. And by the way, the system will recommend what it thinks is the best course of action to follow. So you start to get this real-time steering of your organization as you move forward. It's also a complete scope. So procurement, sales, supply chain, manufacturing, research and development, very obviously finance, service management, asset management, cross-application functions like workflow and analytics, and then very importantly, and part of SAP's secret sauce really, the industry capabilities that we are known for throughout the industry. And taken together, that gives you this capability to act, to anticipate, and to optimize your business operations, and most importantly also to connect them. So I just want to spend a couple of minutes really focusing less on the functional aspects of the software and more on some of the other value adds that SAP brings to the table. First, and I've already mentioned it, is our industry expertise. For many decades now, we have built deep industry expertise. We work with the industry leaders in 25 different industries, and all of that knowledge is available to you. What's more important is all of that knowledge is available to you in one platform. So as your industry boundaries blur, you have access to adjacent industry capabilities if that's a direction you need to move in. Secondly, we offer a superior TCO. And often when you're evaluating systems, you're just looking at the cost of the software and maybe the cost of the implementation. But running a system has much more to it than that. And we're very careful about making sure you understand what that full stack of capabilities needs to be. And then we show you how SAP typically is significantly lower TCO than other solutions you might build by bringing different bits and pieces together. And this is because our platform shares a common architecture, it shares common tooling, it shares a lot of common capabilities that lower the TCO over time. The other thing that's really important is transparency. And this is an area where SAP has some unique offerings. Firstly, the SAP Trust Center. Go and Google SAP Trust Center, you can visit it. You will see there the standards, the certifications, and everything we do to keep your system safe in the cloud. But transparency goes beyond that. We also share our roadmaps. We encourage you to join the very active SAP community where peers of yourself will share information with you and the challenges they're having and how they're resolving them. And of course, join the user group, because that's a great place to meet others who are on the same journey as yourself. We're also recognized as one of the industry's leading innovation platforms. In fact, we recently won an award for being one of the world's top 25 startup-friendly companies. Why that might be important to you is that those startups typically bring new innovations to you in a more nimble way even than SAP is able to do. So that helps you drive your organization forward. We also have fantastic customer advisory capabilities. We sit today on the world's biggest business benchmarking database, bar none. So we can help you understand exactly how you're performing in all your different business processes versus your peers. And that helps you to figure out where to start your journey, where the biggest opportunity or the biggest shortfalls are occurring in your business. That's where we would start the journey. That would unlock value, and that funds the next phases of your journey. And there's a lot of tools that we will work through with you that leverage that kind of information and that kind of approach. And of course, we don't do this on our own. We have a huge, vibrant ecosystem of partners, many of whom bring their own specialized IP to bear on your challenges with our software to make you even more effective. Now, we have a great platform with the Intelligent Enterprise Framework. We can pretty much do everything you want to do, but we recognize you will have other software in your estate. So it's important that you can integrate that into the fabric of your business. So the platform that our software is all built on provides a really robust set of integration capabilities. We use it to integrate all of our different software together into seamless processes, and you can do exactly the same for anything that you have that needs to be integrated into a process. And there's also a lot of standard connectors into the better known third-party applications that are out there in the market today. So again, we reduce the effort, and that talks to the reduced TCO that I mentioned a few moments ago. And then every mid-market company I've ever talked to has aspirations to grow. If you want to grow, that typically implies moving into new geographies and new markets. And here again, SAP is unrivaled in terms of our global reach. Our software is available in 43 localized versions. That means that that software meets the regulatory and financial and tax requirements of those 43 different countries, and it's available in 27 languages on one platform. So if your aspirations are to go global on a consistent platform, SAP is arguably the only vendor out there that's able to do that for you. And again, it reduces your TCO and makes SAP a much more valuable proposition to your business. Now, getting you there, obviously the journey has to start somewhere, and I mentioned RISE earlier on. RISE is our bundle of solutions. We've kind of brought together all the things we think you need mostly to get a transformation off the ground, together with advice, together with content, together with accelerators, together with services, to get you off to a fast start in your transformation journey. And just to call out a couple of things that would be really important for you. The first thing we go through with you is something called a digital discovery assessment. And here, what we're seeking to do is get under the skin of your organization a bit and understand really what are you all about and what are you trying to accomplish. Because once we have that insight, we can advise you the best way to move forward. Allied very closely to that, we will also work through what we call our best practices repository. We have hundreds of business best practices in the various processes across your business. There's about 50 years worth of best practices embodied in there. And what we do is we make those visible to you and we show you what it looks like, for example, to do procurement in pharmaceutical, or to do sales and distribution in groceries, or whatever it might be. You look at those best practices and you'll understand whether they will fit your purpose, and if not, what are we going to do about that? We'd probably turn to our platform and think about doing an extension or integrating into something else as might be required. But those two things, the digital discovery assessment and the best practices, are really there to help you get off to a fast start, so you get to value much, much quicker at the end of the day. And when we talk about getting to value, there's two places value comes from. One is from the business, where we accelerate business processes, we reduce working capital, we improve growth rates, we improve cycle times, cash collection, reduce days sales outstanding. There's myriad areas where we can improve your business capabilities. And again, that database I spoke about earlier on and the tooling around that will help you to make sure not just that you know what you're aiming at, but that you got there at the end of the day. So we address your top line, your bottom line, the green line, sustainability, as well as transformational and strategic benefits that are sometimes hard to quantify, but hugely important to the culture and agility of the organization. And then for the folks in IT, by us taking all of the challenges of running the data center and the technical services on board as part of that Cloud Rise offering, we take that all away from IT, so IT can pivot and focus much more on applying digital technologies to the transformation of the business rather than running IT per se. So lots to think about with the SAP S/4HANA cloud offering, lots of potential for organizations, and what I hope you've seen in this short session is that we have a great deal of tooling, accelerators, knowledge, and partners who can help you to start your journey as quickly as possible and as effectively as possible. So thanks for listening. Reach out to us on our website, or if you have an account executive already, through your account executive, and we'd love to get engaged with you to make your journey absolutely unique to you, valuable, and to get you there fast. Thank you.